Hi, my name is Rael Roberson, and welcome to my podcast on living missiologically, the racial and religious divide. Now, I know what you must be wondering. Why are we talking about two issues if the goal of this podcast is to focus on one? Well, in my cultural context here in Kansas City, Missouri, it would be hard or difficult to talk about one issue without talking about the other. They're so intertwined in my sphere that I thought it might be best to address them both together. Now, I've been living here in Kansas City, Missouri for about 5 years now, almost 6 years. And here is what I have observed. And why I've noticed the two issues being so close together. Kansas City, Missouri is in the middle of the nation, which is also in the Midwest, in the middle of the Bible Belt. And in this Bible Belt, these are the ones that grew up in church, knowing the Bible, knowing Scripture, and it tends to be lost on the heart of Scripture, what relationship with the Lord really is, and what it means to live a life dedicated to the Lord out of love for Him, rather than out of religion. So, the population of Kansas City, Missouri is about 500,000 people, which almost half, so it's about 40% of the population identifies as evangelical Christian. It was much more than that several years prior. But due to a lot of the civil unrest, a lot of the political difficulties that has been happening in the nation as of the last 4 to 10 years, we've seen a lot more shifting of people leaving the church for different reasons. And so, and in that, the Kansas City is actually the most diverse, next to St. Louis. Kansas City is the most diverse city in Missouri. So it's very split if we're talking about politically. Though it's a red state, St. Louis and Missouri and Kansas City identify as a blue city. So it's very split in half, and it has a large Black and Hispanic population. So why is that? I find it so interesting how in this city in particular that's being most diverse, you're seeing most of the people leaving the evangelical church because, in my opinion, the evangelical church has not known what to do in this cultural context that I'm in, hasn't known what to do when it comes to the issue of racism, classism, economic distribution, all of it. The housing crisis. Kansas City is one of the most redlined cities in the entire nation. Redlining being the separation between Black communities and white communities, and being shoved into certain communities, and those communities being stripped of money and pouring into others. And so it's clear, and you see it when you go down the roads. However, the church has not been able to address this here in Kansas City, Missouri, in a way where it brings reconciliation and wholeness, and certainly hasn't been a prophetic voice of the Lord. Hasn't been a prophetic voice of the Lord in this. So as we continue with this podcast, I will talk about how can we be a bridge between the extremes of Black communities and white communities, the churches I'm talking about. How can we be the prophetic voice? How can we build that bridge? How can We reach ones who have gone astray due to the wounds of not addressing the issue of racism and classism. I look forward to talking about it with you guys some more.